In the vast expanses of our oceans resides one of nature's most magnificent creatures, the killer whale. Also known as orcas, these apex predators command both fear and respect in their marine realm. Highly intelligent and remarkably social, killer whales form tight-knit family bonds, each pod with its own unique culture and dialect. Join us on an extraordinary journey as we delve deeper into the world of these extraordinary creatures, the awe-inspiring killer whale.
I've had a couple of really cool moments that kind of continuously keeps me interested, but my first, I think, interaction with killer whales, I was 11 years old and I was fishing off a dock, and it was just me and my cousin, and we had seen a big group of dolphins come into the harbor, like very fast. They were moving quickly, and then they dove, and then a couple seconds later we saw a black fin go in front of the harbor, and then everything went quiet, and then suddenly probably within 100 feet of us, the water just exploded and a killer whale was throwing a dolphin through the air. Yeah, so killer whales are a single species found globally. The biological species concept, I think it was Ernest Haeckel who came up with it. He said it's the potential and the ability of a population to interbreed makes it a species, right? But the thing is, that was a pretty old concept based on the lack of genetic information back then. And now we're starting to realize that a lot of species, particularly cetaceans, which are whales, dolphins, and porpoises, are behaviorally distinct, and they don't evolve the same way as some species. So for instance, there's very few geographic barriers for killer whales, let's say, to stop them from say interbreeding and evolving into a new species. What we call an ecotype. An ecotype is a behaviorally distinct or genetically distinct form. So the same species, but they often have their own population parameters. So for instance, there's 3 ecotypes in the North Pacific, which are called residents, transients, and offshores. Residents eat fish, primarily salmon. Transients eat marine mammals, and then this offshore ecotype eats fish. Initially, they used to call them different races of killer whale. So in a way, it'd almost be synonymous with like an ecotype that way, with a race. They have their own cultures. They're a species that, with populations that that transmit information culturally. It's not innate, so they're not born with the ability to find food instantly. They have to learn it. If they don't learn it, they can die. So you'd want to hang out and hunt with individuals that are like-minded so you have a better success. So that would limit who you hang out with, because you're likely, if you're going to associate with a resident killer whale, probably not going to be very good at hunting a harbor seal. So in this case, it's more social isolation than leads to reproductive isolation.
In the past 20 years, only 49 sightings of an elusive group of killer whales have been spotted in the deep oceans off the coast of California and Oregon. They are unlike any of the killer whale populations we have come to understand. They hunt down sperm whales, fight off sharks, and have a presence that scales the vast ocean. Just what are these deep ocean killer whales?
We've known about killer whales inhabiting the open ocean off California and Oregon for quite a long time. The first publication actually kind of spurred our interest in it in 1990. It was 2001 it was published, but the sighting occurred in 2001, which we review in the paper. It was an observation of a group of 35 killer whales attacking a herd of sperm whales. And that was published in 2001 by a colleague, and I right away thought that was really unique. So we wanted to follow up on trying to see if there's more. So we did a literature review, and we found everything we could possibly find. It first started out with looking at the photo ID work, looking at the populations, looking at association patterns, their social structure. We put a picture of one fin here and a picture of one fin here, and then I visually went through 1,000 different killer whales. So that was kind of the big one that determined the difference between transient and residents, where where whales were primarily seen. That then allows you to if you can identify an individual, you can then identify who it hangs out with, because you can identify both whales. So you can get the association patterns. And as I mentioned before, transients and residents are 2 different types of killer whales that do not associate. So over years of collecting these photo IDs and whatnot, we were able to tell that certain killer whale populations don't mix, or ecotypes don't mix with each other. So these animals really jumped out as being unique because they didn't match, or we didn't see them in association or match to any database. They may be genetically related to transients because they also are only seen primarily eating marine mammals. So from now we're kind of like, oh, maybe it's a subpopulation. So our next step is to collect the genetics and to see if there's more association patterns.
The evidence suggests that this unknown group of killer whales are an oceanic subpopulation of transient killer whales, or a previously undescribed generalist ecotype that feeds on marine mammals. However, further research, like what scientists such as Josh are performing in the field, is needed to confirm these suppositions.